Well, it's been a long time since I've made a film. It's about the 5th of October today, and a lot of progress has been made. The shell and the inner body panels, of course, have all been painted. I think probably the last film I made had them being painted. And there's a new wiring loom in. Most of the wiring pieces have been fitted in, apart from headlights, of course, that can't be done at the moment. There's some heat insulation there that is hardy flex. It's not asbestos, but it looks sort of like the original one. I have altered the rotisserie I made, a wooden rotisserie, which was fantastic and worked really well, despite I had some misgivings over that, but it worked really well. So now I've got the car mounted on this little trailer dolly thing, I suppose, so that it can give me a little bit more room until I put the tyres and wheels and everything on, which won't be for a while. And this allows me to move it over quite a bit, so I can get to work on the engine and gearbox. I've still got some space. Because once I get the wheels on, of course, it has to probably well sit in the opening. The heater has been fitted. There's a new firewall padding insulation piece I bought there. It's a copy of the original one, which I quite like. I know a lot of people use the sort of silvery foil stuff, but I actually quite like that. The colour is Old English white, although it is actually a new mini colour called Pepper White. But I'm really pleased with it, and I think once it's got red upholstery in it, it's going to look really good. Although I did toy with the idea of putting blue upholstery and a blue flash down the side, but I don't think that's really going to happen. The boot is all done, new floor in there and everything. Terrible thing to paint, I have to say. I still keep finding little areas I have to touch up with a small spray gun. Right hand drive pedals are fitted. I made that right hand drive accelerator pedal myself out of the old left hand drive one, just by modifying it, which wasn't that hard. I've used new Teflon bushes in the control rod for the accelerator pedal, which I think will probably be a bit better than the old felt ones or rubber ones that were in there. And today I fitted all the back end in. This is, I think, pretty ready to go. I've still got the handbrake stuff to put on it and the brake shoes and everything to put back in, but it's good. And the spanner that I made for these nuts here, these big nuts, worked a treat. It was really, really good. So they're pulled up pretty tight as I could really get them. And they weren't very tight when I pulled them off, and I really don't think that they've ever been off before, because that washer that has the folded over tab there has only been folded over once, and also you can usually tell if these have been off because people don't have the right tools for them, so they tend to get them off with chisels and things, which knocks them around. So that's like new. I replaced the seals in there. The bearings were beautiful, no problem with those. The section of the casing that the seals rides on was beautiful, no problem with that. So all new seals in there. I didn't pull the diff to bits, the diff itself to bits, because I didn't really think it needed it. I replaced the pinion seal. The diff appeared to be in really, really good condition, so there was no problem there. So I leave alone. It's a pretty expert job setting up a diff. So everything is in there now. Looks very nice against the white. That's the Panhard rod running across there. Brand new rubbers in there, and up the other end too. New rubbers in there. Oop, wrong way. So it's coming along very nicely. Now I've also I'm just working on the front end at the moment. These are the front springs and the brake shoes. Interestingly enough, these brake shoes are supposed to have little pins just here that operate these cams here for adjustment, and there are no pins on any of them, which is really quite a mystery. So I'll weld in some pins. It's no big deal, but it's just really odd. these original brake linings, which I guess would be asbestos, but they're in pretty good nick. There's no oil leakage on them. There was no evidence that there was any leakage around the seals at the back, really, just a little bit of stuff in there, but not much. And this is all the front end stuff that I've stripped ready for painting. There's also the rear brake rod in there. These are the bearings and the shims, which are in really good condition, so they don't need, I think, replacing. I'm not even sure that the hubs, the splines on the hubs appear to be pretty good, so I don't think I'll replace those just at the moment. So I'm not convinced that this car's done a lot of mileage, as I say. And these bottom trunnions here, all very tight. Kingpins are beautiful. There's hardly any play in them at all. So I think I'm very lucky with this. I have a new front shocker here, which came from Worldwide Imports. Rebuilt one. And this is my new right-hand drive steering box, which came to me at great expense. But what are you going to do? I wanted to convert it to right-hand drive, so I had to buy the stuff, unfortunately, and that's really the biggest expense at the moment. Because everything else, just bushes and seals and things on springs, and really not very expensive at all. So that's it. And I think progress has really been very good. I think I started working on the car sometime around about March. And there's a huge amount of welding, all new floorboards, new sills, bottoms of door, A-frame, B-frames, tons and tons of it. But I'm actually really pleased with the progress I've made in about 8 months, so it's good. And here's to the next 8 months.